I'm the motor, so I ain't going in. Like you said, don't show on the chassis, but I did everything.
Back. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sway reporting live, continuing our one-on-one series, episode 3. We got another special guest. All my guests are special, but this one, you guys know who he is for the Grace Park scene. That's where I'm at, so we're going to start off there. We got Mr. Kinu, chairman of the boards, as they like to call him. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me, Sway. I appreciate you inviting me here.
Feel me? So I just thank you for coming, first and foremost. And I always looked at you as a different cat.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So even when I first, met you at Grace Park C, and I remember the first thing you told me was, you were, I wouldn't say upset, but you came to me in a manner was like, yo, so I ain't getting an interview. That was when, I was starting to pick it up. And I looked at it as, I was like, I didn't take it as no shade or nothing, because I knew it was like just a brother to brother type thing. Like, yo, you feel me? I know you see it type stuff. So just, talk about your demeanor, your upbringing. Like, who's Kinu? Like, what was he doing back in the day? How did he become the man that I'm looking at right now?
I started probably I'm a triplet. So I started probably 5 years old. My father would take me Wingate Park. I would always watch basketball and play it, but it's I ain't really take it too much serious, too serious at a certain point to be I was going to be professional. It started as something I do for fun, do with my brother and sister, and then I just took a thrill for it. As the years came along, streetball though, I had a thing for streetball. It's very for me, it's very the way you interact, the way you meet these big names is different, because it's not more of a college. Just you get to meet, you get a scouting report, but it's you come across to like certain people just because you meet them in street ball. You don't really know their background, but for me that was the thrill. That's what I did when I said it. It was oh, this is a new face, or somebody I like to do things like this, like podcasts, things I like to go live, things like that, because I'm always
let the people know who you are.
Yeah, because I'm kind of misjudged in the sense of aggression, because it's a game, but outside of the game, there's so much to it.
So let's go deeper. Before we get to the basketball, I wanna tap into the person you are. Before basketball, I realize you are a man of good faith.
Yes, sir.
And the Muslim belief, if I'm correct.
Yes, sir.
Where did that come from? Was that a parents thing? Was that a family oriented thing? How much is that an impact on the way you live your life?
Well, all thanks to Allah. I lived it kind of in the sense of when I was in Spain, maybe 2019. I was getting ready to go compete in the Afro World Games, and I just had a couple. It was all my teammates, majority of them was Muslim, and it was just amazing to me how you wake up 5 o'clock and keep your faith, and whether things go good or not, they just always kept their faith. And I'm a religious person. A lot of my tattoos is religious, but I looked up to Malcolm X a lot, and I felt it's a sense of us. You don't have to practice your faith around people. You just keep your faith. It lets you know the Quran states that you won't be judged from nobody but Allah. So it's I kind of like that. Everything is we glorify God nowadays in so many bad ways. And God we trust is on a dollar bill and money. And it's these aren't the things that most people with faith really are accustomed to. I feel my faith has brought me through the upbringing, but it's I was a Christian. I got several pictures of Jesus on my body. Going through my transition now, I feel I'm Muslim, but it's more so I'm God body.
You're a mixture of both. You
yes.
just have
in the sense of just traveling. I don't have everybody experience their religion beliefs, but I've been to Israel, you know, I've been to Africa, so I've been able to put my own perspective on it. And it's like, Jesus is great, but it's like Jesus was the Son of God. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we cannot underdemise God. That's just why it's like, oh yeah, you know, like I live in an old Jewish building. It's no disrespect. During Ramadan, I pray in the hallway. So it's like it's just like the way the globes looks at it is like, if you look at it from the U.S. standing point of what you see on TV is violent, and it's like no, it's not. And then it's like it breaks down into so much. So it's like, for me, it was just like, oh, I'm finding something into it, but it's so many views, so many opinions on it. And this is like, I feel if your faith in God, it shouldn't be opinions. It's what I believe or you believe, you know? So it's like, now to the point I come to realize that being 31 is like, yes, I believe in the Muslim faith, but I don't discredit any other faith. God is God, you know? It's just like, if me and you was in Spain, we don't speak English, so we might have a different name for him. So that's how I kind of interpreted it, you know? But it's just like you said, it's not glorified by, you don't have to go. You know, Friday's Juma, you could go if you want to. You know what I mean? Which you're supposed to. But like I said, you know, just to be honest, like when I was in Iceland, Juma Fridays was by myself, you know? So it's like, being by yourself, you come to realize it. But just like I said, for me, my faith about it was, I see a lot of Muslim people, and it's like they go straight. They don't go left, they don't go right. And I'm like, over the years, Christianity with the celebrities, you know, the exposing things, and it's just like, wow, like, the only thing I can honestly say, which is not true about Muslims, they say, the Taliban and certain things like that, but it's like, you cannot, I feel like religion now, since we've been through school and everything's way, I feel like religion more so, the books are to guide you on how to, basically a system on how you should live life.
Yeah, but you don't have to go by the system because everybody's different.
Right, you know, but it's like, I felt like during the pandemic, it was like, I would go live because I lost my grandfather to the whole corona, and it's like,
my condolences.
You know, and it's like, as I stayed more into it with my faith, and I started to realize, like, if you started to notice around you, the people who had faith, who believed in God heavy, and they kept their faith, it wasn't a panic. So it was only everybody else, like, oh, unemployment running out, like, I got a car, I got to claim. And I used to just be laughing because it's like, when it's all said and done, whether you rich, you broke, we all go back in one way. Some go in a box. Some of us, it's messed up to say, some of us go in ashes. So it's like, I could tell you, Sway, yeah, you have to improve your health. Yeah, but then you turn around, Sway, and it's like, we lost several people off of, like, freak accidents. So it's like, God wants you to live your life. I feel like you don't put nobody above, like, nobody goes above God. You wake up, you thank God, but you live your life. We're not perfect. We can't be. Some of us do things that we know, it's like, wow, but it's like, at the end of the day, I believe that God knows all men have the sin. We all sin, you know? So that's why it's like, sometimes before the game, I'll go to the corner, Sway, sometimes I might pray there, but it's like, I don't want to be judged as that, because it's like, being overseas, I was judged for being Muslim, and it's like, yo, you don't want to turn up no more, nah. Or you don't want to drink, nah. It's like, whoa, like, we didn't sign you back for this. And I didn't understand that part of the business. I'm like, okay, year 9, you know, I just averaged 20 and 10. They want me for my skills.
So sorry to cut you, but I wanna you said a lot, and I definitely respect a lot of what you just said, but let's focus. I want to focus on the part, because you did say you adopted the Muslim faith while overseas.
Yes.
What define your time overseas? Like, what year did you get to overseas from high school, college? Like, what was that transition for basketball? Like, how did that start for you? When did you get your opportunity overseas? Like, how did you get that opportunity? And then how did your life progress through there?
Okay, well, I was JUCO. The junior college I went to was called Global Technology.
Where was that?
37th Street, which is actually on basically 42nd. I used to take the 2 train every morning, 3 blocks. It wasn't too far from TCI, which these 2 schools don't exist no more.
Oh, wow.
But it was like, I didn't really have much offers coming out of high school. I played 5 games. You know, my brother, I always used to like to go to my brother's game, support my brother. I went to Fulton, Montgomery. And I asked the coach, like, you think it's possible if I could play? You know, things didn't go the best up there. And I came back home, and I met R.I.P. to the late, great Gary Sims. I got to meet him. I was going to TCI, and he told me, like, you can't get no financial aid. So at this point, it's like, okay.
It's like, damn.
I'm like, okay, so the school dream it's not over, you know? So I end up going to Clara Barton. TCI had I don't know how you would say, but it's like to give everybody a fair shot to try out. So that's what they had. So I went. The guy Gary Sims told me go down there at 5 o'clock. I'm like, okay, cool. This is gonna work out. Get there, Sway, I probably run like 20 suicides because it's like a 3-hour practice.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. I'm like, okay. Guy calls me out. He's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, yeah, Gary Simpson. I don't know who you are. Leave the gym. Get out. So it's like, I called him, Mr. Sims. I was upset. I'm like, damn, like, I can't get a break. Called Mr. Sims, and I texted him. So he told me go speak to Coach Mark Moss at Global Technology. Maybe he could help you. I went and met him. I registered. He told me he still couldn't get no financial aid. So he's like, you're going to have to take a loan out. I'm like, okay. It's okay. You know what I mean? So I'm like, well, he's like probably a $2,000 loan every semester. So I'm like, okay. It's not bad. So as I'm doing that, so he tells me off the rip, you got to be a red shirt. I'm like, whoa. So I'm taking out a loan to
be a red
shirt. He's like, yeah, but
I feel like I'm better than some of the guys that.
So this is my first one because I didn't play AAU.
Okay.
I didn't. Okay. I didn't really know how to basketball. So I started meeting dudes from Philly. One dude from Chicago, other dude was from Detroit. This is the first time I ever came around these much like different places. I haven't really been nowhere in the time. And I had two guys from Canada, and I was just the Canadian guys and me was in the office, and I seen how much they was charging them, and I'm like, wow, they took out 2 loans, and they had to do paperwork for a visa. So as we go into practice, so I remember a dude went to go shoot a free throw towards ACL. I never seen nothing like that before in my life. Like
not to laugh, but that's crazy.
It's like we shooting free throws, and the coach like, yo, bend your knee. He like, yo, coach, I can't. You know what I mean? We went to the doctor later on. He was living in the house with me. We was living on 170 and Teller in the Bronx. Dude came back home, whole leg, like doctor, he's like, he tore his ACL. They cut him. That's when the first time I realized, like, oh, it's real. I cut him completely, like, pulled him out of school, kicked him out the house. He was all the way from Trenton, New Jersey. So I'm like, wow, this is real. So I ended up moving up, and it was just a transition for me. Like, first year was okay. My sophomore year is when I took it serious. I'm like, okay, at least let me try and get a degree out of it, So in the sense of, so it was time for me to graduate. They tried to say I had owed them some money and stuff. So I had old D2s, but I didn't want to go D2. I felt like, Division I. I took these loans out, like,
yeah,
I got to go D1. So I was verbally committed to North Carolina Central. And I had my coach's name was like Frank. He was like, I forgot what's his name, but he told me, Ray Martin, that was his name. And he told me he was the first ever black player to like go to Kansas, and like he said he had Kansas, but he ended up going to Notre Dame. First ever black player to go to Notre Dame. So we used to talk over the phone, and as I'm getting ready to sign, I go on like TV and they say these are the schools that suspended that's going to be independent because they got caught up in like giving money and something.
Okay.
And that was the school that came up.
Oh wow.
So I'm like,
what
wow.
are the odds?
So I'm like, okay, they end up firing him. So it's like all his commitments, who was committed, I never signed. Okay.
Up in the air, all that other stuff.
Right. So I took two visits to Bridgeport at the time. It wasn't like, I didn't want to go there. I actually ended up meeting a girl from there, and I was like, you know what, let me take 2 visits. It was cool. I went up there, and I'm like, I went up there, and it was like a weekend, so I got to play against the guys. I'm like, oh, this is light. This could be mine. And I realized, like, nah, this isn't for me. You know what I mean? So, and I'm like, okay, so
what's next?
I'm working at Family Dollar. I just applied for a job at Family Dollar. I'm like, okay, I got to make my money some type of way. I'm going to just go that route. I get a call I'm in Wingate. I get a call from Greg Vitrone. He's like, do you know who I am? Like me? No, I don't. He's like, I've been watching you. I'm from Philly, Dickinson, and Teaneck, New Jersey, Division I. If you got a day, I've been watching you. Come down and see.
So
I'm like, okay.
See what the word is.
I go there, and I'm hyped, but it's like, in the end of the day, it's like, wow, like.
Somebody was watching.
Somebody, I'm like, okay, I didn't want to go D2, but then I was thinking, like, all right, if I do go D2. But it was just like, I felt like all the work I put in to go, like, D1. Not knocking D2, but it's like.
Nah, yeah, I understand. Everybody wants to get to the highest position possible.
And it's like, I'm just looking at it like everybody I'm playing with in the summer is D1, big D1. So I'm like, okay, I think I could compete on that level, I signed. I got partial athletic and partial academic. So I was like, wow, And I thought it was going to be good, but it wasn't. Like, the first day we met, first thing he told me, this is not Dykeman, this isn't Gersh. Like, you got to know where you at. I'm like, everybody introducing themselves. I'm like, it's my turn. He's like, you think this is streetball? It's not. So me and him always bumped heads. I'm not gonna lie, my coach always bump heads. So I never really thought of being a pro. I just my always goal in my mind was, okay, I'm gonna get a degree. I'm gonna be a black man in my family with a college degree. You know, so and then it was just like Chris Brickley, who was the great, you know, C Brick. That was my coach. That was my third assistant coach. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, you know, and I took a liking to Brick.
What's the name of this school?
Philly Dickinson.
Philly Dickinson.
You know,
okay.
Marcus Tonio from Senior Hall, he was my coach. So it was like, I had some good guys. Damon Francis, a.k.a. Uncle D. I had some good guys around me. I was there with number one player at the time was like Melquan Bolden. He was like number one since 8th grade. There was a lot of people. George Good from Louisville. There's a lot of people that I wasn't supposed to be in there with. Like I said, so my story is kind of like a story I want to get out there because it's like I played by accident, if you understand. Like, It's not my time, but we end up going out to the club. Guys get caught up drinking. I'm not drinking. I'm in the room because I didn't really know nobody. Didn't get invited. So we go to play Providence. We got 6 guys eligible.
Just off the strength that they was doing something last night and you was in your room chilling.
They nationally rank. But I know Vincent Council is like, okay, VC my mans, you know, Bryce Cotton. I'm like, oh, this is... Then I just hit like, you know, it's like, okay. Well, my coach looks like he's mad, like, you're not even supposed to be playing, you know what I mean? Like,
But you got in the game and...
I got in the game. I'm not going to lie, I up my first basket, like, my hands were so slippery I couldn't catch the ball, but I made the layup. And I'm like, oh, okay, after that.
It's game time.
Yeah, it was game time, you know what I mean? 14-14. We lost, but it was just like...
It showed the value.
And it was, you know, I'm like, and it was on TV, so I felt good, like, you know, like, I ain't never see myself playing with the ESPN banner. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is it. I'm just like, okay, this is
official out here.
Yep. And I was just thinking, like, so you know what, maybe this is it. Then I, you know, just being from the way I am, I'm a stand-up person. I ended up losing some eligibility due to the fact when we had the storm that year, they wanted everybody to, like, in the school to sleep in the cafeteria. Because I'm like, yo, this is Jersey. I'm trying to go back home. They like, nah, you can't. A severe storm, but you know, being from Brooklyn, they always tell us a severe storm is usually a little quick rain. So I'm like, okay. So I see everybody evacuating the dorms. I'm like, okay. And this is when we about to go play Dayton, and we gonna play Xavier. This year, this is CJ McCullough. Like this the year after he beat Duke. So I'm like, oh, this is a big schedule for us. Me and my like teammates end up staying in the room. I had a single room. I'm like, yo, y'all could go sleep on the floor if y'all want to. I mean, yeah. We in the room, Sway, just power went out. I see like how we send the water start coming in. I'm like, Then he was like, yo, it's a car in the hallway. I'm like, all right, Jeju. I looked at it. It's really a SUV in the middle of the hallway. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, bro. Well, the beds is high enough. We should be good until the morning. In my mind, I'm like, yeah, this is a terrible idea. Like, I should have just got on the bus and went home. I'm trying to look out for my mans and them who not from out here. So the public safety come like, Kinu, we know you 4 guys is in there. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm thinking nothing's going to happen. So they telling me they pulled my scholarship. I was out of school for 3 weeks.
Pulled your scholarship just because you stayed in the
Yeah, they was like, that's a health. God forbid something would happen. I'm like, yeah,
True, but
sleeping on the floor? Like, I'm like, we might as well try our chances with that. They're like, yeah, you still got to understand, like, this is a... So I didn't understand it at the time. And then it's like I said, after I lost my eligibility, so those the biggest games of my senior year, I didn't really get to play. I didn't get to play, like...
So from not being able to play those 2 big games of you probably your college career, or at least that year specifically, how did you get your first offers for going overseas? I
probably think it was play VCU. I had played VCU, probably lost like 40. We lost by like 40, but I think I had 30 and 17. I missed 1 shot. And then probably 2 days later, I went to Longwood, had 32 and 20. And so for like in 2 games, I missed 2 shots, ESPN Player of the Month. And after that, it was just like, oh, he's leading the nations. A couple guys used to come. I remember one time, it was funny, we was at FDU, and we had an open gym. It was me, Vincent Council, Trucks. I'm looking at these guys like, these guys don't go to Philly Dickinson. This is what's going on here. And then my coach was telling me, like, I think we could push. Like, you lead in the nation right now in offensive rebounding. I was top 5 in field goal percentage. I'm like, I'm going to Philly Dickinson. Like, in my college career, I won 4 games in 2 years. So it's like, yeah, you could be D1, but it's like, then you get down to like, I don't want to say it, but then you get to like Gersh. I feel like D1 is like, you go to Louisville, that's Gersh, you know, West Fourth. Then you go to like NEC is like, I don't even want to say like a tournament, but it's not respected. You know, like so you find out, oh yeah, we going to play Duke, but Duke just gave us $1 million. So it's like, it's supposed to happen. You know, like it's a confidence game for them. So I'm like, okay. So like once I started learning the business, it was like, I didn't know. At the time now, so it's time for me to pick an agency. I'm working out with Brick in the summer, 2-a-days. I'm coming home, doing my thing in every hood tournament, but it's like every time I'll go back to school. So as it started progressing, it was just like I had got a write-up from the Daily News after a game in Dykeman. We had beat Tyshawn Taylor. You know, we beat them, sent them home, and it was a good write-up. You know, I'd never been in the newspaper before, Sway, and it was like, at the time, my coach was mad. He's like, yo, you can't be doing that. Like, God forbid you get hurt. And I told him, like, this is all I know. Like,
yeah, your college coach.
No, yeah, I'm like, bro, the street ball is what I know. Like, you're not playing me here. He's like, I just want to let you know you have to have your attitude. But my grades was always good, so it's like, I'm like, I have an attitude. Like, and he sat me down. We used to argue all the time. One day he sat me down. He's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, nothing. I'm using you for education the same way you're using me for a job. And when I told him that, he always told me, he's like, I didn't know you interpreted like that. I'm like, yeah, I'm in school, I'm having fun. I'm not an athlete, like, not to say I'm not one of those athletes who, oh yeah, he's the best, he don't got to go to class. I was going to class. I had accounting classes at 10 o'clock in the night. You know what I mean? So it's like, college I barely slept, but I enjoyed it. I'm like, wow, like, you know? Then I started realizing as a scholar athlete, is like, you got to look at the people who don't have scholarships. Yeah. Like, you know, when you are athletic, you got a scholarship, you taking it for granted. But then when you go to midterms and you, like, damn, you took out a loan. How much it cost to go ahead? Like, I'm paying $40,000 a semester for this? I'm like, wow. You could be paying this for...
You start seeing the levels.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, so it's like, college is a place everybody can go, but not everybody can afford it. And, you know, and I feel like that's the step that prepares you for you going to a job, whether you're going to business or you're going to jail. You know what I mean? Everything is in the sense of, I feel like, at this age in my life, through my faith and through being around some people, we all judged off of what we do wrong, but we don't never wake up and be like, we don't never wake up like, you know, since like, we don't look up and be like, you know what, I'm here today. Like, let's take a deep breath and think, you know, you're here for another day. You know what I mean? And it's like,
fast living.
You know what I mean? Like, prime, like, you know, my friend, the late great Ryan, like, Ryan was one of those type of people. He wouldn't really, you know, he'd wake up, take a little sip of Hennessy and be like, all right, bro, it's a good day. And I used to look at it like, we could all sit here swaying and think we're not going to have no troubles or have no problems, you know? Like, the reality of it is like, you appreciate certain people because it's like, we from New York. It's hard. It's a gritty place, you know?
New Yorkers.
Straight up, you know, like, you have a good podcast, and 2 weeks later, there's going to be 40 more podcasts. Like, it's like, you know, everybody wants to try it. So it's like, I feel like basketball is the time everybody get to come home, and it's the first place, like, since we met you, it's like, oh, you could put certain people on the platforms. Like, you know, my Ock, like Jay Will, prime example, like, you know, is one of the best players in the world, in my opinion. Like, it's not even a sugar-coated, it's like my brother, we go up and down, you know what I mean? But it's like, not everybody gets that opportunity. But then it's like, when you see him against these other guys, like, wow, he's a dog. He could compete. But it's like you said, it's also how you present yourself. It's like, you think you want to go over there to score 100 points or 50. Nah, they bring you have to adapt to them. So it's just like starting all over. But what I want to do, Sway, since I've been doing this, is like, you know, just tell people who don't know. Like, oh, okay, if you feel you can't do this, like, yeah, overseas is cool, but it's like, if you someone who's not used to being by yourself or you don't really know yourself, it's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be very tough.
Idle time is the devil time, like they always tell us. So if you sit somewhere for 9 months and you think of it like, some people go to water, like my first contract was $1,800. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you, it was $1,800. You're looking at it as
for how long?
This is every month, you know, and then it's like, okay,
a month.
A month. Now on top of that, it was like, okay, every cup game is another $1,800 bonus. Then you beat this team, it's another $1,800. So it's like, oh yeah, you can make money. But my whole thing is, now you take sense from nonsense. Why are you giving me $1,800 to beat this team? You realize this team is a Euro Cup team. It doesn't happen. So it's like, okay. So now I'm like, I'm not used, you know what I'm saying? I'm not used to this point of managing money on my own. I am, but go buy groceries, go do your laundry, make sure you got gas for your car. So it's like, yo, this is a lot. You know what I mean? So it's like, what you see a picture on Instagram, a little clip of a video, and you like, oh yeah, this is the life. I've been in several countries that don't speak English. I know 8 different languages just because of the countries I was in. So it's like,
that's part of the growth though.
But you know, and I look at it like, it's so many guys in New York that I don't want to be looked up to because of, you know, I'm funny. I want to be looked up for where I come from. Like, I've never came from nothing. You know what I mean? In the sense of basketball, I wasn't known. You know what I mean? It's still an argument. I could still come out, oh yeah, he's washed up. Like, it's nothing to discredit nobody. I got defensive player of the year on the torn hip. I got 2 tears in my hip. Nobody know that. I still play. I come out here every like, not knocking nobody. This is how much I love street ball.
Let's talk about street ball some more. I got a question in terms of you're a power forward listed, yes sir. How do you feel about the change of how the game is going? Because let's say the old fashioned way or the regular thinking way of a big man, you post him down on the block or pick and rolls, feed him that. But it's very guard oriented in street ball. Guys with the handle, guys that can shoot a lot. I'll have a 2-part question. So the first part is, how do you manage getting yours when you know that most of the time the ball is going to be up top, somebody driving the ball, not feeding you down the post?
I'm gonna be honest to you, Sway. I don't usually tell people this, but growing up, like, if you tell me Sway outside is blue, I'm gonna believe you. So I knew with myself, like, all right, bro, you're not the best, you're not that most athletic, but you got your arms is long. I always knew my arms is longer than most. So I could reach out, and it's like, okay. So when I got a measure, I'm like, okay, so prime example, I started to learn certain things. Like when I play with Jay, where I know when he goes off the left, it's usually a scoop layup. So I'm like, okay, if I be right here, I start knowing certain things. Then I'll just be watching, like, okay.
Guys' tendencies.
You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, people don't think this is like, oh, yeah, it's easy. He's just a hustle player. Yeah, but I'm hustling always at the right spot at the right time. So it's like I always told myself, oh, you're not that good, but what can I do that other people don't? Nobody want to really bang no more. Like you said, it's like, it's messed up to say, Sway, but 5-10 years later, my game would be a extinct game, like a polar bear. It's going to be extinct. You think about it, in my generation of growing up, I looked at Shaq and all these people. Like Zach Randolph was one of my favorite players. Undersized, not too athletic, big left, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like, me gonna keep it real, it's going to be honest. But then it's like, if we look at it now in the NBA, you could say, who's a back down big? What, Joker and Embiid? And they not even really back down if you think about it.
They like to play outside, up top, see the floor, see the doubles. So
it's like everybody was like the change. I started experiencing it during in professional. Started realizing like, oh, like, why my money not going up? You know what I'm saying? Like in the sense of like when I was supposed to go to Freeborough in Switzerland, it was like, yo, $5,000. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, everybody like, yo, yeah, it's good money, but a guy who's coming in here, he's not better than me. He didn't average more than me. Not knocking him where he came from. His numbers is less. Why is he getting more? Now I asked the coach, why you don't think I'm? Some games, you don't show us that you could shoot the ball enough. I could shoot though. Okay, yeah, but if you're watching film, you're not bringing me in to be like, oh yeah, now we in practice. Yeah, I'm gonna let you get shot. But game now, come on, I shoot at 3, I get subbed out. So it's like, oh. Nah, we need to see you shoot the ball more. So in my mind, like, okay, let me go work on that. Go work on it. It was one summer I was playing with King of Crossover and Gersh. I was starting off with every 3-pointer. Go over, see, shoot that timeout. Hold on. What's that? Yeah, I told you, man, I want to see you shoot the ball. No, we didn't bring you for that. Your film didn't say you shot. You know what I mean? Your percentages is like.
The standards, the hypocrisy.
So it's like, I always like, you know what I mean? And that's what gets me mad. So I'm be honest with you, I don't like how like my game is credited in the sense of I don't need the credit, but it's like I wanted that defensive player of the year. It's been several times in Gersh I was scoring. Like if you watch me show you how you could tell me when me and you met, the first time that's the last time I took a jump shot in Gersh. That was the first game of the season. We played the BK Stompers.
Yeah.
You understand, bro? And I look at it like, okay, like I don't shoot, granted. Because you know what I'm saying? I appreciate the game from the old school era, like Magic Johnson and them with pass. You know your role. I'm a role player, supposedly. But it's like, I've got MVP because like you said, I feel like this way. It's always overlooked, yeah, because it's basketball. But if you somebody who do your tax, anybody do tax, it's realistic. We're going to, like you said, oh, LeBron is like we all look at LeBron like, oh, he could work on this, but he's leading the team in 3 different categories. It's unanimous. Don't get me wrong. Everybody says, yeah, Kyrie should have got it. Yeah, he should have. That's one game. But if you look at the overall, Kyrie, 30 points. We needed, yeah, you held us down. What else did you get for us? 5 assists, Braun, triple-double. And then, like you said, it's like I'm so used to not expecting nothing. When I do get something, it's like, oh, I don't, if you know, I won't smile. I'll just be like, well, I got this. Because, you know what I mean, 9 out of 10 times. I sit back and I know. It's like, oh, yeah, this dude better than you. It's like, okay, it's not about you being better than me. A lot of people don't know. I go speak to the kids. What are you doing that's so much better than me? This is what I'm trying to say. Like I look at it. I used to go to Gersh and like I take my time, look around. Yeah, I'd be nervous because I've never won Gersh, but everything else in the city I've won. So it's like, damn, you keep. You know what I mean? The doctor's telling me, yo, you keep playing, you might not. By the time you get to 40, you won't walk again.
That's a tough thing to hear.
So I'm like, okay. I mean, we black, we African American. Yeah, one time we was told we was never gonna do this. So it's like, I wouldn't mind giving my all to be in a wheelchair to know like, oh yeah, I tried. And that's why I be trying to say, like, a lot of people don't know this way. Like, my determination, I'm not scared of the world. Like you said, I might come out one day with red hair. Oh yeah, oh bro, yeah, laugh now. But at the end of the game, when you go home and you chill, you laughing, yo, dude was crazy, but dude was hooping.
Dude was hooping.
You know what I mean?
About it.
But you know what I mean? And that's like I said, like I always loved Dennis Rodman because it's like, I want people to know I respect you coming out. You just came from a hard day of work, 8 hours. Yo, what's up? Oh, we going to Gersh. See these people, like, you don't know, it's a couple disabled people in Gersh. I go talk to them first, anything. Yo, what's up? Yo, bro, we are blessed in so many ways. But it's like, I respect the big homies. You know, K Vaughn is my, like, I always looked up to K. I look up to Gary Irv, Gino. I looked up to all these guys. But it's like, it gets overshadowed because we're from Brooklyn. So I'm not going to look up to you the way I can. It's always perceived as, oh, you hating. We playing ball, bro. We not out here trying to, you know what I mean? Like you said.
Lovey-dovey, and so at the end of the day, we all competitive. We want to win.
But then you think about it, Sway, like, okay, Sway show, like, the amount of followings you get, you don't really understand it because it's like, sometimes say I be watching and you just be catching yourself like, yo, this is really happening. Like, sometimes, like, not to just catch it, like.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we look behind us and we like, yo, this is still a hood.
This is, yeah.
And to see police like this, like, so you mean to tell me at this time in East New York ain't no trouble going on?
Ain't
no type of trouble.
Yeah.
Get there early. Yeah. So it's like, you look at it like that and it's like, yo, at this point, you know what I mean? It's like, people don't think of that. Like, let me come out with red hair, blonde hair, like, oh, nah, boy, I'm not scared of the world. Like I said, if something was to happen tomorrow, I'm ready to meet my maker and say, I tried my hardest. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I respect street ball, but it's like, for me, like I said, I want to know, like, what's next. You know what I mean? That's the most thing. Like, once you stop playing ball, your heart rate stop. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people don't know that. Like, a lot of these guys, like, R.I.P. to Phil. I don't get too emotional, but it's like, a lot of guys that really died for playing ball. Heart stop, sticks. You know what I mean? I had a little friend, like, it's like, bro, you sit here and you all right, he not the best, but he died for this.
So,
you know what I mean? So it's like, what do you, in the long run, me meeting you is way bigger than, I don't have to come to Gersh no more in life. Like I said, I wanted to retire. I could really sit here and swing and look in your face and be like, I was done with basketball. And everybody like, yeah, bro, you be lying. I came back for Ryan. Ryan was the same person who sat in the car and told me come back to the BK Stompers. So it's like, I gotta value something with that. That's the last conversation me and him had. I dropped him off. Yo, bro, good luck in your season. You know what I mean? See you when you get back.
Yeah.
Ain't no, you know what I mean? So it's like,
ain't no going back.
Ain't no going back.
You told your mans this.
So it's like, when you see somebody like that, it's like, you know what I mean? VAR. It's like you meet certain people in your life and you think of it and you be like, you ain't thinking this is goodbye. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, we always had a good moment with Sway, but it's like, I know at least damn, I gave Sway a genuine, you know what I mean? At least when he remembered me, like, yeah, dude was always genuine.
So I want to go a little bit deeper with that, because I remember you mentioned a time where he was like, I could have been done with the street ball. There was a point in Gersh where no one could find Kinu at Gersh for a couple games, going into the playoffs, and then you came back with the red hair. I did my little, watching the scenes of Brooklyn. I saw you was at Dunker's Delight, and that seemed like that looked like that's where your heart was at. In terms of, I mean, I don't know what was going on there, but describe, I believe you won a championship over there that time. What was going on where, you decided to miss those games and decided to go play over there? I'm just saying, based on what Instagram, it looked like it was a good time over there that you specifically needed to go to.
I just feel like, to be honest with you, Sway, like, street ball for me is different. Like, I was in Wingate because my friend Arsenio, a.k.a. Two Moves, a.k.a. Two Step, was killed. You know what I mean? He threw a pop-up shot and lost his life due to gun violence. It's like, somebody, I knew him all his life. Like, a lot of people don't know what it's like to chronic pain. It's like, me and you sit here and it's like, oh, it's like chronic pain is over 100 surgeries, several, like 2 hit and runs. This is an angel to me, And like, Sway, you could tell him, like, be honest with you, Sway, I don't see people I don't mess with this dude. He's not cool. We in the mix. If you look at the first opening night when I had the blonde hair when I played with Sean Bell when Lance came, That footage is from Two Step. Daily News covered his name out and took the footage.
That's crazy because I was just looking at that footage the other day.
Right.
With the,
so
yeah.
DP always looked out for him. He never wanted no money. You know what I mean? His whole thing was to build a basketball documentary. I used to be in the car, we used to go, and I used to laugh sometimes. I'm like, yo, Step, you ain't getting no chicken for this. Like, you driving in the car with me to Dykeman to go get this little $150. What you want? You know what I mean? I always remember. He like, bro, nah, bro, I just remember you. Like, that was one of my first coaches, you know what I mean, for CNC Showcase in Wingate. And I watched, like, you know what I mean, like, Bionic Man, like, I never took to that until I met him. I always knew about who Bionic Man was, but it was him. Like, you see a dude working out every day, Sway. We chilling, doing what we do, laugh, haha. But lo and behold, this man is hurting. I won't know that. You won't know it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He used to tell me, like, I'm like, bro, what's up with you? Like, nah, I can't work out today. And it's like every time he get a break, a real break come in his life, his body get hit by a van or get hit off his bike. You know what I mean? And I look at it like 150 kids he used to work out for free. So since he been going, it's like them 150 kids is lost. You know, this is a dude who was my best friend with my brother. He used to go grounding, vegan, like changed his whole life. I watched it, like, and I learned from that, like, how we gonna glorify his name, or Ryan, or Vol, or, you know, like Sticks, all these people.
Cats that we once saw.
You know, because it's getting to a point, Sway, where it's gonna be like, oh, like prime example, I would love to see Sway on Sports Center, because it's like, this is what we need. Like, you don't want to, like, a lot of people understand, like, if you look at something for all the smoke, you can relate to it because it's real. This is not, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't get Terry because it's lying. This is something you know, but a lot of people is not cool with speaking out on certain things. It's like you come there and, like, I mean, prime example, I love Gersh because I got to meet Tu Holloway. I ain't know Tutu. I never knew him as a, like, I looked up to him because, like I said, and we all know what happened, his situation, the fight, and I'm like, but to, you know what I mean? The first place I got to meet Lance was Wingate. That's my favorite player of all time. I tell people that all the time. Like, then to come meet Ra, and Ra got me playing with him on the regular. So I'm like, oh, you know, so it's like, and then I come to realize, like, everybody is human. You know what I mean? So, and I just look at it like, what is the message we sending from Gersh? Gersh has been going, nobody's ever got killed in Gersh, no shootouts, you know what I mean? And I'm just looking at it this way, like, we have a bigger plan in it. Like, my whole thing is like, okay, so when basketball is done, what's next for you? Like, what would you like to do? And I always tell myself, I do want to get into basketball, but it's like prime example, it's no announcing. Like, it's always a one announcer show. But my whole thing is why streetball don't have a after, like, TNT. I always thought about that. Why not? What we doing in the summer? Everybody drinking nutcrackers, hookah. Yo, you know what I mean? Like you said, prime example, you go to work, wait, damn, I'm gonna miss Gersh tonight. Let me go on the round table tonight, what they talking about. Let's see what they talking about. Yeah, good performance. It's a little thing. Oh, how was Dykeman? You know, it's like we could all be rich in some type of way. Like Shay days, it's like I said, I've been watching Shay grow from here. I'm watching you, Sway. It's like,
yeah, I met her this past summer.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, you got somebody like that who's so nice, and she's a girl. So it's like, wow, this is, oh, she's beautiful, and she does her work. So it's like, okay, let's relax, y'all, let's relax. But it's like she has a model, and then you just watch everybody. I'm like a lot of people don't understand how much pressure it is for you. You know what I mean, Sway? Because like you said, you got to go in there, get in the middle. Sometimes people, you never know, Sway. Like some of us ain't want to talk to you after we lose. You come with good energy, but it's like, damn, we just lost. You know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like what we lack in street ball is because, like you said, you know how much people will really sit home and be like, you know what? I would love to see, like, what's a day in the life with, you know what I mean? Like with Bryce or B Phrase, like, and you don't get these things. But you thinking small mind, like, you think, oh, you're NBA. But it's so much kids that really, you know what I mean, look up to you. Like, since I've been playing with Chris the Hooligans and all these things, like, I be with my mom, and people just walk to me, Hooli, and I be looking at them like, yo, like, what is this about? Like, bro, I seen you on YouTube, keep going. And I'm like, I never would have thought I could get that. You know what I mean? So just being a dude from the neighborhood, like, oh, going to Wingate, going to watch, like, West Fourth, going to watch these little tournaments. It's like, you know, like, just to the point now, like, I hope when it's all said and done, I do finish as top 100 players of all time. Because I gave a lot for basketball. Like I said, I'm the only person I know that got 2 tears in his hip still doing this and still winning. That was my whole point to come back out. So like, it was fun as a game, and I told you, I want the defensive player of the game. Yeah, that meant what? Like I tell people that all the time. Like, I'm the prime example in my life of with hard work, dedication, but also being yourself. Because like you said, Sway, not too much people gonna go in the park where it's like, oh, he got all red hair. And it's to the point, I went to Dykeman. That's the first place I played where my hair dyed red. Everybody like, why you did that? And I started to really
They question normal.
Yeah. I'm like, what you perceived is somebody out there who got red hair that they make fun of. If you always think of it. Somebody gets blonde hair. Everybody like, yo, yeah, you got the blonde. What's so wrong nowadays with being yourself? Why you can't sit here and glorify, oh yeah, Sway want to be a podcaster? That's great. Why not push him? Like, nah, bro, I think don't direct me the wrong way. Because like you said, it's a kid that looks up to you, little do you know it. They won't tell you because it's like, hey, in my mind, you think about it like, yeah, from New York.
There's always somebody watching.
Right. The chance of you meeting Kevin Durant's a decimal. Chance of you meeting For the Kill, hey, I can run into Jay anywhere. So it's like, and then when you do get the chance, you think they look, it's like, oh. And then you give them a 5, you don't know how much you made their day. So it's like I said, even when I watch this with you, it's like, I always check on you. I don't say too much because it's like I said, I hate that. It's like, I wanted to, my whole thing, Sway, if I could, this is my last year. I would like to go to schools, tell my story, bro. Like I said, I'm not scared to tell nothing of my, what I do, what I'm into, as far as everything, good and bad. Because it's like, yo, I'm not perfect.
So let's tailor this now. I was going through your Instagram, right? Preparing for this,
right? Ready for this?
Seen some things that I had to, I have to ask. Coach Ra for Sean Bell.
Yeah.
There's a video, and he got a stack of bread in his hand, and he was talking to y'all about how basically some teams don't want to come in this tournament. I forgot what the tournament was at the time.
It was Rochester.
So they don't want to come in this tournament because they know Sean Bell in there, and they know they're not going to win. And I want you to preach on his energy as a coach and what the program is, because I've heard this term before with Sean Bell, and of course from my time looking at them, they have elite players come in and out, multiple seasons, yada yada. Like describe that energy of the program and how Ra runs his, let's call it, well, it is his organization. Okay,
well, like I said, as far as like me joining the program, this is one thing I'm gonna tell you about him. Off the books, him and my mom is probably best of friends. So it's like I never like Ra is really, I feel like he's Coach K of streetball. Like if we play tomorrow in Hoops in the Sun, Sway, I've literally woken up to, what you doing in the house? Oh, you thought I was playing? I'm like, who let you in the house? Like, you know what I mean? I'm looking at my mom like, you let him in? Like, oh, he been here for an hour.
An hour already.
I tell you, we gotta go. So it's like, it's like you take grown men, you take their ego, you take their pride, their celebrity, you crumble it up and you throw it. Okay, now we back to square one. Now let's put the program. That's how he makes you understand that any night could be anybody on the program. If you notice it, you could count. Nobody on the program gets 30 unless they have to. He exposes the mismatch. He's a coach who believes nobody's bigger than the program. So it's like, if you do look at it, it's like, yo, it's a lot of dudes from all over. And I feel like with him, it's like you don't see the time, and he loves basketball to the point he eats, sleeps, and breathes basketball. Not because he don't play it, don't mean he sees it in a whole different light. And it's like, he knows who to get. And it's like, no disrespect, he checks on you. He's a real coach in the sense of like, win, loss, or draw. You know what I mean? One thing about the program, once you turn your back on the program, he'll never let you play again. But it won't stop his friendship from you. He always checks on you. Like I said, this is somebody I've been overseas with who's been in the house with my mom. So it's like, I respect him enough to, you know what I mean? Because like I said, I don't know when we talk, you don't take it for granted, but it's like, I love that man enough because he showed me a lot. Him and Ron's really showed. He told me on the business aspect, like, okay, if you want to get paid in streetball business, you got to come play every night. Like, if we giving you the ball, I'm not telling you to pass it out. That's why he wins so much, because it's like the will of win. I'm gonna do whatever it takes. And if you come with an ego, it's cool. You could sit next to me. You've seen it several plays and got dressed. I quit. Yeah. Go ahead, no problem.
I've seen it.
Because it's like, and then you think about it like, damn. So I don't care whether you played in Israel. I don't care if you are McDonald's. It's all on what I want to do. It's my program. But then you think about it, it's like the program stands for so much more. If you know who Sean Bell was, you know what I mean? So it's like, don't look at it as like he's being rough on you. It's a sense of pride. You representing somebody who lost his life to, on his day of marriage. So it's like, if you think about it, because like you said, years go by, so you don't really think of it like Sean Bell All-Stars. But if you know who Sean Bell is, it's like, God bless Ra. You know what I mean? Allah has the best for him because he keeps it every year and he keeps it at the top. Went to Jersey, took that over. You know what I mean? I always tell myself, like, you don't think, like, you ask these coaches for money. Prime example for me, yeah, I ask them for money, yeah, because I know what I'm going to bring to you. But you don't, like you said, so you don't see that the mornings I go in my mom room, mommy.
We don't see the behind the scenes.
You know what I mean? You don't see me falling on the floor, limping. Yo, we going out tonight. Can't because I can't move. You don't see me after the games, like, damn, wonder what he doing. Because I wake up and I come in there with a smile, but it's like, not saying we should be compensated, but it's like, bro, I can't tell you what this guy gonna do. I know what I'm knowing for a fact I'm gonna come get you 10 boards. I'm gonna try and get maybe 7 assists, and you know what I mean? However the points is looking, but nobody's gonna leave it out there harder than me. And it's like towards the championship in Gersh, I was kind of mad about that. Like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, you a quitter. You're like, yo, I'm not even a quitter. It's just it's a lot for me. Like, y'all got me in the championship game in Gersh, and I got Wingate. And I promise two-step that. Like, I'm gonna win this for you. Like I said, so it's like, I wasn't saying I was ready to. I love basketball, but I know when it's my time, it's my time. And, like I said, right now it's like I'm happy I got big bro. I got my bro Lightfoot, like AJ. You know what I mean? Kuda Love. These is people, and inshallah, whether basketball's done for me, I could always open up to them. And it's like that's why I say I don't never discredit Ra, and I love Rons because Rons is somebody who throughout this whole time believed in me. I used to call Rons, and Rons used to be going on dates. He'll stop his date. From him going to a big fancy Philippe restaurant to grabbing Popeyes and a Coogee sweater rebounding for me. So I always tell Rons, like I don't tell him this, but I love him dearly, you know what I mean? And Ryan was the first person, like I said, to really tell me, like, yo, bro, like, this the only time we got to enjoy the summer. You know what I mean? So like you said, we was all going through a pandemic. People don't know how financial crisis is like.
This was the first time in a long time he was like, damn, you missed this shit.
And as a ball player, this is the first time real life hit you. Like, some of us can't go back overseas. Like, you look at this way, some of these places, like, some restaurants ain't open back up, some businesses. So it's like, I was just in Kosovo where I'm thinking I'm making good money. It's where you play 1 week, you sit out the next 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So from the point of being 21 hours in the air, I get to Turkey, or my PCR expired. They send me back to New York. Got to pay another flight.
Jesus.
To get this way, for them to tell me I'm going to be reimbursed and never get reimbursed. So it's like.
So, like, I'm loving what I'm hearing from you. Your story is one of a kind. I need to ask these couple questions before we decide to keep it moving. There's a, how do I pronounce this? There's a time and place where basketball players, they how do I call it? They look at what's next, right? And you've hinted at saying you don't want to play basketball no more. Well, I don't say you don't want to play basketball, but you're saying you're choosing not to. Like, what drives you? Like, there's what is something in your mind that's like, okay, I do this for who, or I do this for that. I do this because I am who I am. Like, what keeps you going? Because at some point, like you said, we're not going to be playing basketball no more, right? So what continues to drive you to go into the next chapter of your life?
I like the facade it creates in my mind. Like,
Repeat that again?
I like the facade it creates in my mind.
The facade it creates.
Yeah, it's like the hardest thing I could tell you, Sway, was how to adjust to real life. Knowing the ball. You always hear, like, your ball going to stop bouncing. In my mind, Sway, whatever. To the point to be like, oh, you know what I mean? Can't jump not saying I jumped high anyway, but it's like, I can't do this no more. Or it's actually, like, depressing, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. And a lot of people don't say it because it's like, if you program for this is your way of success, this is your way of getting to everything. And it's like, oh, hit your agent up, what's going on? Oh, they're going to go with the younger guy, say he shoots the ball better, you know what I mean? So it's like from June to August, in my mind, it's like, damn, like, nah, we ain't hearing nothing, don't hear nothing. And it's getting to a point where, like, I'm hearing my agent, I'm like, am I annoying you? Like, why not? Oh, your attitude. I'm like, you telling me my attitude isn't getting me paid, or some coaches don't want to deal with it. If you're a coach, right? This is my own thing with basketball. You're not only coaching me for basketball. This is what we're trying to tell you. This is why, if you notice this way, you'll meet somebody, I hate my coach. And they'll look you in your face and, why? He made my life. You know what I mean? Because they feel like if you'd have got to understand me, you could have really coached me. Oh, he's not coachable. How he's not coachable? Like, as a coach, he's listening to you. You stop liking a coach when they lead you somewhere wrong, or you felt like, you know, like
you could have been in a better position then.
Growing up in the African American community, you look at it, not too much of us grow up with our fathers. Or you do grow up with your father, and it's like, oh, okay, but you see your parents struggle. You see that rent slip come to the door. You know what I mean? And as a person, for me, it's like, that's selfish, bro. I'm losing family as I go over there for what? To come back home and post a picture and say, yeah, ball is life. I'm playing overseas. I come back home, say my mom looking older, my brother looking older. Like, I'm enjoying life, but it's like life is transgression. You know what I'm saying? Like,
life keeps going for others.
And you're not looking at the time difference. So it's like, oh, yeah, I'm 6 hours behind y'all. Yeah, but that mean what? Our day is already done. So I started realizing that. So it's like, everybody like, yo, bro, you just got a different aura about you. I've been all around the world on my own. You know what I mean? So like, to be in Turkey, no money, no phone, 30 minutes of Wi-Fi for a 19-hour layover, you know? So it's just like, I always think like, it's hard because nobody will tell you that life is going to be like this. And especially when basketball, when it's like you lose to injury or gun violence, or just to the point like, all right, we found somebody better. So it's like, so you preparing yourself, I'm working, and you never get the call. So it's like, for me, what keeps me going is like, yeah, I used to be this, or I was, at a time, but in reality, it's like, okay, bro, you 31, you know what I mean, you went to college, you got your degrees, what's next? You know what I mean? What you want to go into? I told myself I wanted to go into law enforcement. Then I realized, like, yo, with the hip injury, how long can law enforcement go? So I'm looking at it like, I'm not subjected to, but reality, I need a job where it's not too much pressure, you know what I mean, Sway, where it's like, realistically. And I always, like I said, if you ask me who my 3 role models as a man is, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Joe Clark. Mr. Clark. That's one of my favorite movies, East Side High. And a lot of people be like, yeah, why do you? Because it's like, look at it. That man was willing to, he got locked up to prove a point. And at the end of the day, like you said, so yeah, we cool, me and you cool, but we have an education. No matter, you take the basketball away, you take the family, it's what you learned. So it's like, if you say, yeah, you want to be an entrepreneur, you can't be an entrepreneur without learning. But everything is cool, because like you say, you see the drill music, you think this is cool, this is the way of life. Yeah, I just want to go wear Mary's, like, okay, you can still have sweatsuits and be cool. Think of it, like if you look at the average rich person to the average rich, you know, not fortunate, the fashion will kill you.
Yeah.
And then you look at the Hasidic Jewish community where everybody dresses the same, which means what? Equality. We look at it like that, it's dirty. Nah. Same thing when we go to uniform school. Yo, put your uniform on. Only thing that separates you is your sneakers. Now that's why I tell you we want shoes.
You make a valid point, sir.
You know, so it's like, I just always like, it's like, if I was to do something, I would like to be a teacher. I don't want to teach for money after school. Cause no disrespect to nobody. The hardest thing about being a kid is going to school and after school. The hardest thing about you going to junior high school is like after school. Cause it's like, yo, Sway, your parents don't know. Oh, damn, I like Molly. Molly going to McDonald's after school. It's like, as you start to experience life, it's like, your parents send you to school to do something, but as a human being, you exploring to doing so many other things.
Yes.
So it's like, damn, who can I talk to that's gonna be real with me? Like, okay, yeah, I've smoked weed before. I'm not knocking you for that. You know what I mean? You human. Most people are scared and they go out and do something because it's like, you want to relate to somebody who you can relate to. That's why sometimes you go by your friends like, damn, I wish I had a father like yours. No, I'm not saying he's doing it bad, he's relating to it. Don't punish him, it's life. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, we have punishments in way other forms. Yeah. Jail, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I tell people, like, you look at basketball and you're perceived as something totally different. Like, you see us all, and you be like, yeah, I like his demeanor. Yeah, we have degrees. We're not just black men who could put the ball in the hoop. You know what I mean? Some of us look at it like, yeah, but it's going to, like you said, unless you do this, you get married to a girl over there. It's messed up to say so, but some people have their ways. Stay over there to be stuck in the facade. I look at being overseas as the Matrix. Be honest to you, it's the Matrix.
Jesus.
And it's like, you'll look at it, but it's like, imagine 9 months you treated like Kevin Durant.
And you come back.
Then you come back and it's like, oh yeah, East New York. Damn. back to the slums. So most people break from that. Me? Nah, cool. Damn, bro, why you ain't stay? Stay for what? It's a job.
For what?
This is what where I come back to is what pushed me to get over here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like everybody be like, yeah. I live with my mom. Yeah, I love my mom. I sleep with my mom. I love my mom. We all only have one of those. Not worried about Beyonce. I'm not worried about these women. No disrespect. It comes to a point. You get one mother. You know what I mean? And my aunt. Thank God I've been blessed with an aunt who's like my second mom. I talk to the both of them. So it's like, you thinking as a kid is to be scared to talk to your parents. I just want kids to know, like, the average life right now is 21 to 23. Y'all not making it past 23. No disrespect. It's messed up to say so, but if you want to smoke weed, tell your parents you smoking weed. They're not going to like it, yeah. They're going to tell you stop, yeah. Facts. But at least keep them in the loop. Because now when these kids is being brought up, it's like, my son was into all of this and I didn't know.
You didn't know. I'm not going to lie to you. I struggle with that in my life too.
You know?
Before parents found out I was doing some stuff, and then now, smell this, smell that, and then now it's, I wouldn't say it's different. I wouldn't say they still want me to do what I do, but they know that, okay, do this way, do this way. Don't always, perception upon others. But just to end it off, one last question for the youth or for people that can learn from your story. What is your message to any guy that's your age, any guy that's younger than you, any guy that probably related to any story you just told? What is your message? This is now your time to lay it on the line.
All right, y'all here with Chairman of the Boards, a.k.a. the smoothest talker, a.k.a. the fans' favorite, a.k.a. Eric Mayer. I'm cleaning up streetball. I just want to tell you, if somebody tell you you're going to fail, you're not going to make it, you're gonna be just like your father, is motivation. Anything negative is gonna turn to positive. So it's like, whatever they tell you can't do and you can do it, you push 2 times harder. But you always remember that person who told you that. Like, prime example, Kev Jackson, thank you for that. I really want to thank you for kicking me out of the gym. You always give them their credit because it's a bigger part to the story. So if you let somebody discourage you, or the hardest person you got to let down is yourself. And at the end of the day, when you go home and you look at that mirror, it's only yourself. So if you feel you could do it, go do it. And like I said, when you do it, just remember who told you. Your boy, Chair.
Chairman of the Boards.
Thank you so
Kinu,
much.
A perfect episode. Guys, if you didn't enjoy this episode, I don't know what else to tell you. Chairman of the Boards, Kinu, gave us some knowledge, free game. Thank you again for stopping by. I hope this is not the last time I see you. I hope not.
Nah, it won't be. It won't be. I just.
But life goes on.
Yeah.
And whether it's street ball or I just catch you in the street, hopefully, definitely, I see you again.
So like I said, I hope to see you on Sports Center, Tidal. That, like I said, so if you, like you said, you asked me what you would see me, I'm gonna post a video tonight. If you don't see me, you see I got my little acting career going. I think I'm Mr. St. Patrick. So it's like I said, if you've been tuning into the show, So like you said, everything about life, I just want to say one thing, Sway. When you get to Hollywood, I will be there. I will be there, and we'll toast to the good life.
Kinu, Sway reporting live, one-on-one sit down. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch us again next time. Peace.
Peace.
Hey! Good pass, Kinu! Lay up bucket! Why you jumping though? Kinu! Oh, 5. Kinu to the right. Kinu goes, step to hold the other, gotta go. Good pass, lay up bucket. Kinu could pass, Kinu lay up.
But for me, it's just one more. I always tell myself that one more energy. Through Allah, everything is blessed. So, like I said, I'm just trying to just make sure I love this and I love it with my all. And I like everybody who come out to see that I love it with my all.
Kinu, screen around.